Fashion is more than just clothing. It is identity, culture, power, and history woven into fabric. From the very beginning of human civilization, what we wear has told a story. Thousands of years ago, early humans didn't care about style, only survival. Clothing was made from animal skins, leaves, and fur, designed to protect against harsh weather. But even then, something interesting happened. Humans began to decorate. Shells, bones, and dyes were added, not for warmth, but for expression. This was the birth of fashion. As civilizations grew, so did fashion. In ancient Egypt, clothing became a symbol of status and spirituality. Light linen garments were worn to suit the hot climate, but it was the details that mattered: gold jewelry, elaborate headdresses, and makeup. The more decorated you were, the more powerful you appeared. In ancient Greece and Rome, fashion evolved into elegance and structure. Flowing garments like tunics and togas reflected simplicity, balance, and beauty. But even simplicity had rules. Certain colors and styles were reserved only for the elite. Fashion had become a language of class. Then came the Middle Ages, a time when fashion was strictly controlled. Kings and queens dictated what people could wear. These were known as sumptuary laws. If you were not wealthy, you were not allowed to dress like you were. Clothing became a clear line between the rich and the poor. But everything changed during the Renaissance. This was a period of rebirth in art, culture, and fashion. Clothing became bold, colorful, and expressive. Luxurious fabrics like silk and velvet became popular, and tailoring improved dramatically. Fashion was no longer just about status. It became about creativity. Then came one of the most dramatic periods in fashion history, the 18th century. In Europe, especially in France, fashion became extravagant and theatrical. Women wore enormous gowns with wide skirts, corsets, and detailed embroidery. Men wore wigs, coats, and stockings. At the center of it all was the French royal court, where style was everything. Fashion was no longer just worn, it was performed. But this extravagance didn't last. The French Revolution changed everything. Suddenly, dressing too richly became dangerous. Fashion shifted toward simplicity and practicality. People began rejecting the idea that clothing should show extreme wealth. This moment marked a turning point. Fashion began to reflect society's values, not just its rulers. Moving into the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution transformed fashion forever. Clothing could now be produced faster and cheaper. Sewing machines were introduced. Fabrics became more accessible, and fashion slowly reached the middle class. For the first time, style was no longer limited to the rich. Then came the 20th century, the most revolutionary era in fashion. Each decade had its own identity. The 1920s introduced freedom, shorter dresses, looser silhouettes, and bold expression. The 1950s brought elegance and structure. The 1970s embraced rebellion and individuality. And the 1990s simplified everything with minimalism. Fashion was no longer controlled by kings or laws. It was driven by culture, music, and youth. Designers became icons, runways became stages, and fashion became a global industry. Today, in the 21st century, fashion is faster, more diverse, and more powerful than ever. Social media has changed everything. Trends can go viral overnight. Anyone, anywhere, can influence style. But at the same time, there is a growing awareness about sustainability, ethical production, and the impact of fashion on the planet. We are now asking deeper questions. Not just what looks good, but what does it mean? Fashion has come a long way, from animal skins to digital designs, from survival to self-expression. And one thing remains true. Fashion will always evolve, because we do. What story are you telling?